Good morning, children. So yesterday we did gel electrophoresis, and in gel electrophoresis, what we did was that how the fragments of DNA of different sizes, how they are arranged, how they are separated. So in gel electrophoresis, what we did was, first of all, we isolated the DNA. We isolated from the plant cell or animal cell from any source. Then it was separated from it. That is again by spooling. We did isolation from its mixture, and then we separated it first of all by isoelectric focusing. The technique which I told you, that was isoelectric focusing, in which we focused on isoelectric point. And what was that isoelectric point? This was the point, this was the pH at which a particle, a DNA fragment, loses its charge. Any charged particle, isoelectric is the pH, it is the pH at which any charged particle loses its charge. So we focused on this isoelectric particle, this isoelectric point, and as you know, we took DNA fragments. So DNA are DNA fragments. DNA is negatively charged. We took DNA fragments, and these DNA fragments are negatively charged. And then what we did, we took them in a trough. Here, agarose gel was there inside, and then a negative here, a positive here, cathode and anode. And then here we had this, what we had was the agarose gel. And then what we arranged here, we adjusted a pH scale here, which says 7, 8, 9, 10, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this way. And then we allowed the DNA fragments to move on it. So some of them, they lost a charge here, some of them they lost the charge here, some of them here, some of them they lost their charge here. So this way they all got arranged. Actually yesterday also I told you I made this wrong. It has to be made like this. So all the DNA fragments, they got adjusted according to their the way they lost their charges. So some got stable here, some got stable here. Then we took it for density gradient. And in density gradient, what we did, after this isoelectric focusing, there was density gradient. In density gradient, we took the same fragments of DNA which are now arranged like this at different pH. Now they were taken here. Suppose this is another plate of agarose gel, and here we took the plate on which the fragments were there at different levels, somewhere 2, somewhere 1, somewhere 3. Okay, so we took it, we added buffer to it. When we added buffer was added. It's a solution, you all know it, a weak acid with its conjugate base. That solution is a buffer. So when this buffer was allowed to flow, according to the density, they all got arranged. That means this got separated from this according to the density. According to the density, they got separated. According to the density, they got separated. Okay, so on the basis of density gradient, they got separated. Then these were separated by elution. These DNA fragments, we can easily cut them with a scalpel, knife like thing, and that process was elution. And this also I told you that these fragments are not visible on this agarose gel because their color is similar to the agarose gel. So how to find out that we have a DNA fragment here? I told you two processes are there. In one, you treat this whole thing in which we have these DNA fragment with ethidium bromide, and then this ethidium, after treating with ethidium bromide, this is exposed to UV radiations. When this is exposed to UV radiations, they are visible in the form of orange bands. And then when we come to know, fine, this is one DNA, then what do? We see it in the form of orange band, and it is cut from that place, like we scoop out ice cream or things like this. So same way with a scalpel, it is cut and it is removed. Then there was one more method in which DNA probes are added, and those DNA probes, they match with their complementary bases. And then when they are exposed through the X-ray film, they appear to be dark gray or black in color. And that is also we can remove from the agarose gel plate by using a scalpel. Then I told you that here we have taken the DNA fragments on agarose gel base. Now this is not, you cannot store DNA fragments in agarose gel for a long time. If you want to store the DNA of, say, any extinct plant, any extinct animal, and that has to be stored for a long period of time, in that case the DNA fragments are stored in special membrane which is known as nitrocellulose membrane. These DNA fragments are transferred to nitrocellulose membrane. I'm writing here the name, nitrocellulose membrane. Nitrocellulose membrane. That means DNA of dinosaur would have been stored here in nitrocellulose membrane, and still we could have found the DNA of dinosaur. So because this doesn't get destroyed for a long time, and we can store the DNA for a long time in this membrane, the fragments from this agarose gel is transferred to nitrocellulose membrane. And yesterday, this is what I was telling you, how this transfer of DNA from agarose gel is done into the nitrocellulose membrane. So there is a particular assembly which is made for that, and that assembly is known as transfer assembly. Now I'm making that for you, that how the fragments from agarose gel is transferred to the nitrocellulose membrane so that it can be stored for a long duration. So here what is done is a assembly is made. In that assembly, what do we take is here. Now, our assembly is made, a big trough is taken. This is a big trough which is taken. This is transfer assembly. What are we going to transfer? What are we going to transfer, beta? Answer my question. What are we going to transfer and from where to where? Yes, answer my question. What are we going to transfer and from where to where? Yes, who's going to answer my question? Who will answer quick? What are we going to transfer and from where to where? Yes, I'm not getting any response till now. Yes, I want your answers. What are we transferring and from where to where are we transferring? Yes. No, till now I haven't got any answer. Yes, Sukh Sahaj is writing. DNA from agarose gel to nitrocellulose membrane. DNA from membrane to host. No, Amit Pita, here we have not made a recombinant DNA. Here, what we have got is DNA. Like if we want DNA from a plant cell, we remove it from the plant cell. Now we want those DNA in different sizes. What do? We break the DNA, and DNA is not a toffee or biscuit like thing that you can just hold it. It has to be taken. DNA is a, see, cell is so small, nucleus is smaller than that, and something which is present inside the nucleus will be more small than that. So how it is transferred from the solution into the, we take it in the agarose gel. It is transferred into the agarose gel at different shapes by gel electrophoresis. And then what happens in in the agarose gel plate, we cannot store the DNA for the long time. For that, it has to be stored in nitrocellulose membrane. So this transfer assembly is to transfer the DNA from agarose gel plate onto the nitrocellulose membrane, so that we can store it for a long time. Suppose there is this extinct plant and we want to store its DNA. So how we are going to store it? The same process, we will isolate the DNA from its cell by using cellulase, by using pactase, proteinase, by using lipase, pectinase. We will take its DNA out. Then we will use restriction enzymes and other enzymes. We will make a solution, and then we will take it in a test tube where we will add the chilled ethanol. When chilled ethanol is added, what happens that the DNA which are broken into fragments by endonucleases, they come at the junction of the test tube where the material, the endonucleases and other material which are used to take out the DNA, that is there, and chilled ethanol is there. At that junction they come and lie. So by spooling we use a glass rod and we take out that DNA from the test tube. Now that DNA, that is in a form of bunch, rather it's in a form of bunch, it's in a form of mucousy bunch rather. So how we will take out those fragments which has been in which the DNA has been fragmented by using endonucleases? How we will separate those fragments of DNA? That separation is done on this agarose gel plate, in which when the buffer is added, they start moving towards the according to your density, and the lighter one, it goes farther, very far, means the last part of the plate, whereas the heavier one or the bigger one, it remains near the starting. So what happens on the basis of their side, they get adjusted. Now what we do in the agarose gel, we cannot store DNA for a long time because agarose gel is destructible. It gets easily destroyed. So if we want to store the DNA of any organism for a long time, we will have to transfer the DNA from agarose gel to nitrocellulose membrane. And this transfer assembly is for that nitrocellulose, to transfer the DNA from agarose gel into the nitrocellulose membrane. Could you understand now? Is it clear? Is it clear, beta? This is telling how we are going to transfer the DNA fragments from the agarose gel plate into the nitrocellulose membrane. So here, what do? We take a trough, and in this trough we take a glass block. A glass block is taken here. So this is a glass block which we have taken, and we cover this glass block with a filter paper. So a filter paper is used and this glass block is covered like this. The glass block has been covered. Now what we do on this glass block where we have kept the filter paper, on that we place our agarose gel plate. So this is our agarose gel plate which has been kept over it. This is our agarose gel plate on the filter paper. This is our agarose gel plate where we have different fragments of DNA. Now we have to transfer this agarose gel plate onto the nitrocellulose. So above this we keep our nitrocellulose plate. This is our nitrocellulose membrane. Okay, this is our nitrocellulose membrane which is kept above it. So I'll write it for you. This is the glass block. This is filter paper covering the glass block. Okay, filter paper we have. This is the agarose gel plate. Agarose gel plate which has DNA fragments, which we are going to transfer, which has DNA fragments. Agarose gel plate which has DNA fragments, and above that we are going to transfer the DNA from this into this. So we have nitrocellulose membrane. Nitrocellulose membrane above it, because we are going to transfer the fragments from agarose gel into this. And then above this, we keep at least 10 to 15 filter papers are kept. Filter papers in layers. These are filter papers which are kept above them. And then we keep above this some heavy material, heavy, say, what do we call it, paperweight or thing like this is kept, so that the assembly doesn't move. So this is a heavy weight is kept. These are filter papers. These are filter papers. And this is heavy weight which is kept. Okay, so that the assembly doesn't move. So this is the way the assembly is set up to transfer the DNA fragments from the agarose into the nitrocellulose. Now what happens here? This is filled with the buffer, but at a low level. See, here only, till here the buffer is poured into it, the buffer solution. Only till here, so that only this little, the filter paper touches it. So when the buffer is poured into this assembly, what happens? This filter paper is absorbed, this buffer is absorbed by the filter paper. This is the filter paper which is in touch with it. So this filter paper which is covering the glass block, it absorbs it. And after absorbing, what will happen? Of course, it will come onto the agarose gel. This agarose gel will absorb it, and with that, the movement of the fragments will start. And these DNA fragments will start moving from agarose gel into the nitrocellulose membrane. The fragments will start moving from here into the nitrocellulose membrane. Now what happens? Because of pushing up of buffer from the agarose gel, the fragments have moved onto the nitrocellulose membrane. Now above them, say 10 to 15, a pack of filter paper is kept. Why this is kept? So that the buffer which rises up along with the DNA fragments, that can be absorbed by these filter papers. So they absorb the extra buffer which rises up, and then this is removed and this is kept and stored, so that the DNA is kept safe for a long period of time. This is the transfer assembly to transfer the DNA fragments from the agarose gel plate into the nitrocellulose membrane. Okay, now this process of removing elution and then transferring it to nitrocellulose membrane, if this is done, this complete separation of DNA, from where did I say? Elution of DNA means removing that DNA fragment from the agarose gel plate. That process, or transferring it to nitrocellulose membrane, this biotechnological process in which DNA fragments are separated. If this biotechnological process is done in case of DNA, this biotechnological process, if this is done, this biotechnological process, if this is done in case of DNA, we call it Southern blotting. We call it Southern blotting, SOUTHERN, Southern blotting. This process, when it is done in case of DNA, we call it Southern blotting. If this is done in case of RNA, we call it Northern blotting. And if this process is done, separation of proteins, if this is done, this biotechnological process, if this is done in case of proteins, we call it Western blotting. Western blotting. So this is the way of separation of the DNA fragments. I think this is clear to you all. Is it clear? If it is clear, I'll start with PCR. Come on, children. Is it clear? Anything you want me to repeat? Amit Katoj, Bache, is it clear? Amit, respond quickly. Is it clear? Anything you want me to repeat, I'll repeat. Yes, Sukhsahaj. Okay, Sukhsahaj is saying yes. Amit, anything? What are well in gel electrophoresis? Well in gel electrophoresis are those holes in which the solution is put. I mean, all the fragments in the solution form are put along with buffer so that they move. It is the plate, the way I told you, that didn't include, if this is agarose gel plate, here we have some wells. In these wells, these are fed with those small fragments in buffer solution. And then they start moving along with the density gradient. These are wells which are fed with the DNA fragments when it is in solution form with buffer. Is it clear, Amit? Yes, bache? Did you get the answer? Yes, Amit? No. Okay. We have agarose gel plate. We have agarose gel plate. This is the plate which we make. This is the plate which we make. Okay. Here there are some pits-like structures which are known as wells. And in these wells, we put our DNA which we receive after spooling. I told you the process of spooling. After spooling, we get DNA. Suppose these fragments we have got after spooling. Okay, these DNA. So these are the fragments which we want to separate. So this solution with buffer is put into this well. Some of it is put into this well. These wells are fed with DNA, but the DNA is put in the solution form in the wells. And then what happens on the basis of density gradient? When the buffer is added on the basis of density gradients from the well, the fragments, they start coming out. Okay, and they get arranged in this way. See, the smallest go farther, the biggest remain here. Okay, this is how the fragments then get separated. This is normal gel electrophoresis in which isoelectric focusing is not used. Okay, here also we have fed it with the DNA which we wanted to separate according to their size. So here also the same thing happens. They get separated, means density gradient, that means the heavier one will remain here and the lighter one, small and the lighter one, will go far in the plate, but the heavier one will remain here near the wells only. This is how they are separated on the basis of density gradient. Is it clear now, Amit Katoch? Okay, so this was one type, and this was the normal electrophoresis, in which normal gel electrophoresis, what I told you, that was by using the electricity also, isoelectric focusing, and then separating again the same way. The word I didn't use was just the well. Well are special places which are fed with the DNA which we want to separate. Okay, which we get as a result of spooling. Then we have another topic here, PCR. These days, this word is very common in use when they say the corona test, PCR test is being done. So the full form of PCR, yes. Full form of PCR, polymerase chain reaction. The full form of PCR is polymerase chain reaction. Okay, now what happens in PCR? PCR, or polymerase chain reaction, it was a method to amplify the DNA. When we say amplify the DNA, that means making multiple copies of DNA. Suppose at any crime, there is a crime scene, and at that site, we got little blood. Okay. And this was the only evidence we got from the crime scene. Now, as you know, the blood has platelets, the blood has WBCs, and the blood has RBCs. This we has obtained from the crime scene as a little smear of blood, and that blood has, of course, the blood has these components in it. Now, out of these three components, which one are we going to use for obtaining DNA? Which one are we going to use for obtaining DNA? Yes, tell me. out of platelets, WBCs and RBCs, which one we will use for obtaining DNA? Yes, beta, which one we will use? WBCs. Paras is saying yeah, WBCs. Yes. Why WBCs? Why WBCs? Why not RBCs and why not platelets? Why not RBCs and why not platelets? It has nucleus. Yes, because only WBCs have nucleus. They do not have nucleus. And DNA can be obtained from, yes, DNA can be obtained from the nucleus. So only WBCs have nucleus, and from the nucleus we will obtain the DNA. Now this we have got from the crime scene. Now beta, the number of WBCs or the amount of WBC in the what we have got in that blood which we have got as evidence is very little. We need to amplify it because we have to take it for so many tests to find out whether to which particular person it belongs to. So many tests have to be carried out. For that, this WBC will be in less amount. So it has to be, what do we want? We want to increase this in amount. Increase this in amount. So for increasing this in amount, which is also known as amplification. Amplification is done. And this process of amplification in which we amplify, we increase the number of the amount of DNA obtained is known as PCR. That is why PCR is done, or polymerase chain reaction is done, so that the amount of DNA can be amplified. So for that it is done. Now, the three steps, first of all, this particular process of PCR or polymerase chain reaction, it was first of all discovered by Kary Mullis. Kary Mullis, M-U-L-L-I-S. He was the gentleman who discovered the process of the polymerase chain reaction or PCR. Now in polymerase chain reaction, there are three important steps, and those are denaturation, annealing, and extension. The three important steps of these are: number one, denaturation. Second step of this is annealing. And the third step of this is extension. So these are the three steps of PCR technique: denaturation, annealing, and extension. Now this is not a very big process. This is a small procedure which I'm going to tell you just now, so that we finish with this. Then we'll be left with only one topic of this chapter that we'll do on Monday. Now here, what is done in denaturation? Denaturation, the DNA we have is double-stranded like this. This is a double-stranded DNA. Here we have 3', 5', and then we have, of course, opposite of this, 5' and 3'. So this is the way we have got the DNA. Now, what happens in this case is denaturation is done. In denaturation, both the strands of DNA are separated. Both the strands of DNA are separated. And how these strands of DNA are separated? In the technique of PCR, they are separated by using very high temperature. Very high temperature. And the temperature which these DNA strands are exposed to is about 92 degrees centigrade. It has to be from 92 to 97, 98 somewhere, but the optimum temperature which is mostly used is 92 degrees centigrade. And at this high temperature, both the strands of DNA, they get denatured. By denaturing, that means the hydrogen bonds are broken. The hydrogen bonds which connect both the strands, they get broken, and these strands, they get separated like this. What will happen if more than this temperature is used? If more than this temperature is used, then the phosphodiester bonds will also break. The phosphodiester bonds will also break from here, and then we'll get many fragments of it which will be of no use. So the appropriate temperature to which the DNA strands are exposed is 92 degrees centigrade. When both the strands of DNA, they get separated. Then we come to the second process of this, which is annealing. In annealing, what is done is, this was the first process.